Hello, friends. Welcome to Symbaroum. This is a TTRPG setting and system created by Järnringen.
Kory, how can you ruin your intro like that?
Alright, wipe the screen, reset.
Hold on, we're gonna start over. One sec. We're gonna start over. Hello,
man.
welcome to Symbaroum.
Technical difficulties, Stella's broken.
Just before this, she was blaming us for having ruined her intro.
Kory, quickly, do her intro.
Hello and welcome to
too
the
loud.
stream.
You think she has Kory at above 1%?
Alright. Third time's charm.
I need you to stop laughing. Oh my goodness.
Hello and welcome to Symbaroum.
It's a TTRPG system and setting created by Järnringen.
Järnringen.
No, I can't stop crying.
It's a spooky forest romance simulator.
Oh my god.
No, we're not romancing the forest.
Hello, welcome to Symbaroum. This is a TTRPG. Obdurant's the DM. Take it away.
Yeah, Kevin, you're doing the intro today.
Alright, welcome to Errands and Davokar, our very serious Symbaroum campaign. Symbaroum is an RPG system put together by Järnringen, a Swedish developer. And right now we have a party of 3 adventurers who have recently made it back to Thistlehold. And
Say we make it 4.
I'm sorry, what?
What? 4. Upgraded
in
to
any case.
4.
Our party narrowly avoided getting arrested last session, and also dealt with some of the administrative overhead that comes with being a a treasure hunter in a very heavily regulated society like the Ambria one. Hey, Kome, do you want to give a quick recap of what went on last time?
Yeah, we didn't go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
We bartered with an angry old man inside the Order Magica. Murdered some bandits. And then a shady guard came to go talk to us after we had registered all of our sacred items.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Every single one. And
Sorry?
also, Karmeon blatantly censored a note directly in front of the person who was registering it.
And also kind of asked them out on a date?
No, he asked them out. He asked them next to a date. Because he's just going to be there. They're not going to be there together.
Okay.
Stella had the better interpretation.
Romance
Got
dating
it.
forest simulator.
It's more border town simulator than forest simulator right now when you're in Thistlehold anyway. But yeah, that's about it. So the 3 of you have stepped just out of the Queen's Legation, where Surya kind of handles most of the some of the administrative tasks that have to do with Thistlehold. And the gate guard that you've encountered a couple times now, Regard, has just approached you and kind of steps in your path.
We've
Not very-
encountered him before?
As everyone except Pekome recalls, you have encountered this man a couple times. And he stops in front of the group and kind of just gives a smug little grin as he looks over the 3 of you. And then he goes, Lady Bori, it's high time for you to start providing some assistance in return for our agreement earlier, if the 3 of you would follow me.
Pikome's going to lean over to Mayura and just whisper, "Who is that?"
Mira face palms. Pekome. Do you not remember when we were found with company in the forest?
Oh, was that the vagabond in the woods?
City guard? Question mark.
Close enough.
Yes,
She
he
waves.
is in fact right now wearing the attire of the town watch.
Close enough. She waves Mayor off and starts following.
Okay, great.
Maida gives a questioning look over to Karmeon.
Karmeon gives like a slight wiggle of, could be good, could be bad, but what can you do? Shrug.
Maida will follow.
Karmeon has learned the druidic language.
Yeah, I was thinking that Karmeon's shrug sounded a lot like Jacob's nods from last night. So Regard kind of guides the party up a northerly route through Thistlehold. So you head north from where you are to the Queen's Square, and then follow Corinthia's Road along to the Toad Square. And you're familiar enough with Thistlehold that you do know, with the exception of certain things like the Salons of Symbaroum are there. The area beyond the immediate perimeter of the Toad Square gets a little seedy. And things are seedy just about everywhere in Thistlehold within a certain limit. But this is where some of the less savory things happen in town. And he guides you through the eastern portion of the plaza and in through a nest of smaller houses that aren't necessarily run down, because really everything in Thistlehold is too new to be run down yet.
As we
But-
approach Toad Square, Maida will lean into Pekome and say, be on your guard. This is where the two fighters came at one another. Edgar and Arn. One of them was blight marked, if you remember the story.
I don't.
Okay. That's it.
And once you're in the eastern section of this district, you take a few turns to end up at one of the houses that doesn't really look any different from the others, and it has been a little bit of a confusing passage to get there. And Regard will step up and push the door open, and then step inside. And he stands by the door and sort of gestures the three of you in past him. Once you are inside, you discover the house is very little more than one large common room. There's a fairly sizable rectangular table in the middle of the room, and it's the only furnishing in the room at all. And upon the table is a fairly large chest with two handles jutting out of either side for ease of carrying, but it's probably about 3.5 by 2.5 feet or so. It looks very sturdily made. It has sort of bands of iron around it for support, and a lock on the front that's holding it shut. Regard is not the only person inside. There are perhaps 5 or 6 other people dispersed through the room, and they're mostly engaged in conversation with each other, and they're not anyone at a glance that you recognize. Most of them do kind of look over as the three of you enter, but they are occupied with discussion with each other. There's someone organizing some manner of supplies on one side, and so on and so forth. Regard pushes the door shut and steps over to the table, and then kind of pats the top of the chest. And he looks over to you, Pekome, who, if I recall, is still kind of wearing her mismatched armor. She hasn't had time to get that changed out. So is her house crest visible anywhere right now?
She still has the half cape on her back.
The half cape. Okay, cool. No problem. So yeah, he'll look at Pekome and go, we need this delivered. And I need you to take this and head down to Blackmoor and find a barbarian by the name of Kodamar. He is expecting this, And if you don't mind my saying so, and he'll kind of glance over, take him his armor. Says it isn't an urgent delivery, so you can wait a day or two to get yourself a little more collected. Because appearances are important and all that, if you understand my meaning.
And why exactly does this delivery have to be done by us?
I'm not much inclined to answer that question, Lady Bori. If you're afraid that this is some element of a trap or some such, I can assure you it's nothing of the sort. But it's important to my employers that Kodamar has shown a certain level of connection which you qualify at present.
Meira will lean into Pekome and whisper to Pekome, ask them what's in the box.
Pekome will say, Mayura wants to know what's in the box.
Meira looks embarrassed and she leans away from Pekome.
Rigard glances at the box and then glances over at Meira. And he rubs at his jaw for a second before saying, that ain't much of your concern, but it is something valuable. And it's not something we'd like to see misplaced. I wouldn't advise trying to open it, though.
Does this chest, just by looking at it, look like something that would need a wagon for it to be transported, like dimensionally?
So it's only about 3.5 by 2.5 feet, and
Okay.
it does look pretty heavily encased in those metal bands with the lock. But it does have two kind of handles protruding on each end, so it looks like 2 people could carry it, or 4 people if you wanted to really overdo it.
Or a horse. Assuming.
We don't have any.
Yeah, but I don't actually know where is Braith, not Braith. Something. The place we're taking it to.
Oh, Blackmore?
Blackmore.
So it's about an hour's ride away, I want to say. I could
Okay.
be.
It's relatively far to be carrying the chest, just 2 of you in between you.
Mm-hmm. It actually might be an hour's walk. Let me double check that real quick.
Okay.
It is pretty close.
Mhm.
And if you're not familiar with Blackmore at all, it's a permanent tent camp that has kind of grown up outside of the hold. It's mainly comprised of people who work in Thistlehold, but whose employers don't want to pay for them to actually qualify as residents within the town. Although there are other people who have just gathered there because there are amenities and there's a community growing in the area, and it's less discerning than Thistlehold is.
Oh.
Considerably so.
So-
It also...
Because don't forget, we had to present heraldry in order to enter Thistlehold.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not just
you either
anyone
need
can enter this.
a coin to enter or have those signets which qualify you as one of 3 tiers of citizens of the town. And let's see, closer to the Palisade on the road to Darius Rest. Yeah, it might magically get further away, but we're going to say it's about an hour's walk from about the heart of Thistlehold to the heart of Blackmore, because they are supposed to be quite near each other.
Okay.
I'm concerned that the last roll I see in chat is Mayura critically failing a resolute check.
I don't remember the context.
I do not either.
It's fine.
Pekome is going to look over to Karmeon, and she's going to say, "You normally have questions. This is your chance to ask them."
I do? Man, just kind of looks at the box. No?
All right, there was 2 questions. She's going to shrug and then turn towards the door.
Mm-hmm. As in leaving without complying? Or just as getting ready to leave?
Just as getting ready to leave.
Okay.
Maida looks confused. She'll look around the room.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of quality of living is the rest of the room?
You can tell at a glance that there is no quality of living and that this is very much just a spot of convenience. It's clearly no one's home. It's just that one big room that I mentioned, and aside from the table, that's this little furnishing in the center of the room. There's little else. There's some crates on the far side that are supplies. It looks like it's kind of just a spot that this guy or this organization has access to and makes use of, but there's no indication of real residence. As far as the quality of the room, it matches more or less the quality of the outside.
Okay.
There are, signs of wear here or there. There's not much effort has been put into making it very pretty or anything like that, but it's sturdy enough.
Are there any questionable stains on the ground?
No. There's the scuff of mud here or there that's kind of been smeared into the wooden floorboards. There's a bit of straw in the corners, but there isn't any signs of like bloodshed or the like.
Okay. What about the people that are accompanying Rigard? So Merida's basically what she's trying to do right now is she's trying to size everyone up and try to glean like some information on who they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this is a spot that they're using interim to make this meeting place here. Which in itself is a resource as well. So she's trying to see like how deep these pockets go, maybe?
Give me a vigilant roll.
Okay. A 6.
Okay. So most of the people, there are 6 others other than Regard that are in the room, are wearing what appears to be pretty worn gear. Leather that is definitely molded under the stress of combat and of wear and tear and so on. Their cloaks are fairly worn out, threadbare in a spot here or there. However, on 2 of them you can see that there are, kind of in the folds of their cloaks, hidden away, but not necessarily hidden away from Meira's attention to detail now and then. Pretty well kept silver clasps, and one person has like a small fan of knives tucked in under their right arm that you get a glimpse of, and the metal appears very high quality. It would be very polished, but it seems some sort of, no doubt, expensive matte lacquer has been painted over it to dull the metal. And you can catch a few other glimpses here or there that while this is a utilitarian area, and while most of the people look kind of run of the mill as far as mercenaries or vagabonds might go, there are definitely signs of affluence that does suggest that they have pretty deep resources from some source or another.
Does the chest itself look worn as well, or does it look new?
Nope, it looks very new.
Okay. Are there any insignias on it other than like it being banded? It's just very plain.
Nope. Yep, it's just a wooden chest with metal reinforcements.
Karmeon will head over towards the chest, given, you know, transporting it is the current assigned duty.
Mm-hmm. When he draws near, Rigard will kind of take a step back and gesture obligingly at it. And then he'll say, you know, feel free to take your time, but don't take too long, you know.
Is there anything that we should say to Kodomar?
Nah, you don't really need to tell him too much. Just say that, well, this is from me, and you should know the rest already.
What does Kodomar look like?
He lets out sort of a quiet laugh at that and shakes his head and says, listen, you aren't going to have much trouble finding him when you get there, trust me.
He's got a massive butt.
Maida will move over to the other side of the chest to help Karmeon carry it out.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And as we're leaving, Maida gives a sort of like narrowed-eyed, scrutinizing look over Rigard as they leave, but she doesn't say anything.
Okay. Yeah, that is kind of met with nothing. What's Pekome up to?
She's just gonna open up the door and hold it for him. Her companions.
Okay.
When we're outside, Maida will say, once the door closes, Pekome, where do we go first? Back home?
Well, I need to get this armor fixed before everything else.
We are going to be ambushed by more bandits. I can smell it in the air. And she just starts kind of pulling the chest and Karmeon towards the street, and
That's because bandits don't own soap.
Karmeon kind of sniffs at himself, and we haven't known soap for a couple days till this one.
all right. Maida will suggest that we avoid Toad Square.
Go straight through all of the alleys, you know, just like whatever alley looks fun.
No, she would suggest that we try to stick to larger streets, but just not Toad Square. So she would suggest maybe going south towards Hallowvan's Ring. And then cut across onto Harvest Street. And then Ophelia's Road, probably.
Okay.
We'll go
Sure.
like this, and like that, like this, and like that.
Give me a discreet roll.
Give us a don't get mugged roll.
-1.
Mira is very exceptional at blending in with the crowd.
There isn't a crowd.
There is not much of a crowd. Perhaps due to the fact that most of the people that you encounter along the way give a pretty wide berth to the pair of you and the kind of looming armored figure beside you as you're moving through the streets. Anytime there is congestion, it sort of parts because no one wants to get too close to you, or perhaps too close to the smell coming off of Pekome, or perhaps any number of other things. But as it is, you don't really cut the most subtle trio as you make your way back to your house. That said, you don't actually encounter any difficulties along the way. There are no upturned carts. There are no bandits that want to try their luck. And before long, you make it home.
Excellent. Once we're inside, Maida will lock the front door behind them and pretty much just let Karmeon deal with the chest.
Pekome is gonna hold her hand out to Mayra.
Maida looks like she's about to head towards her room, but then she sees Pekome and she goes, "Oh, right. Yes."
And mine?
Maida points right at Karmeon. "You owe me for the hat."
What?
And then she will put down the bag of coins onto the table, and she more or less just shoves the bag towards Pekome to distribute. And then she puts out her hand expectantly.
Okay, so who all was given money? Was it just all given to Mayra?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole sum was just handed over to Mara.
And how much was the total sum?
I think it was 100. It was or 120 or something, because it was 25.
We were getting 25 instead of the 50 because he assumed he paid us in advance, or half in advance.
Yeah, but
And
we got a
then
little
you got
extra
70
because
for
of
your rolls.
Yeah, but we got a little extra for
You got
Karmeon's
70
thing.
plus 50 plus 25.
Yeah, okay. So 140?
45.
Yep, 145 they were.
Maida kind of blushes, and her extended hand becomes two extended hands, so she puts them out together and she says, "Don't forget my finder's fee.
Alright,
A
so
large part of this was because the two of you ran away from that room."
ran away.
Huh? Oh.
Okay, so Pekome will divide up the thaler. She will give Mayra 60.
Okay.
Karmeon 40, and herself 45.
Alrighty.
I worked pretty hard on that,
Excuse me.
that pitch.
As soon as
You know?
Maida's given the 60 thaler, she just scampers off into her room and the door shuts.
Do we hear the sound of jingling coins?
Absolutely.
Coming through the door?
Absolutely. You hear things getting rummaged around and some banging, and yes, it's a whole thing.
Karmeon,
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I
need you to get this armor refitted. Just tell me what the price was and I'll pay you back.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And then she goes upstairs to get ready to take her armor off.
Alrighty.
Mayra, tell me if you want me to, do any research on all of that. And Karmeon gestures in a circle at her door, kind of pointlessly because there's no one in the room anymore.
Does he just hear a hiss from the other side of the door as Mayra counts her coins?
There's not a hiss. There's sort of a muffled noise. It's kind of indiscernible. And probably about 20 minutes later, Maida will come out and she'll have various items in her arms and she'll set them down on the table. She'll put down the game board, the urn, and the key. And she'll gesture to them and say, I do not suggest opening the urn. There's a liquid inside. It might be poison.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do.
And he does like to put random liquids in his eyes.
Do not put them in your eyes. Do not taste them. Do not open. Actually, and she just swipes up the urn. She's like, never mind. I am going to hold on to this.
I did a lot of research on those before I did that.
And she puts it back down on the table. If you're going to open it, give me a warning so I can block my door for any fumes.
Yeah.
She just kind of looks you over for a second and then slinks off into her room again.
All right.
Slam. Door slams shut.
Don't slam your door, young lady.
Hiss.
And then, probably about 5 to 10 minutes later, Pekome will come out, her armor the pale armor all bundled up together, and she'll just set it down on the table in front of Karmeon.
Karmeon politely pays no attention and he filed down horns.
She is currently wearing her cloak.
Karmeon politely pays no attention to any slight bumps underneath the hood in the forehead area.
That's why they're filed down, Kory.
So I said slight. And then collects the armor and then goes out for a really fucking business. What time is it?
Time for you to get a sundial.
Getting into the evening at this point.
Yeah, Karmeon has a depressingly busy evening ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
So Maida will come back out maybe like an hour later.
Okay.
And she's going to say... Sorry, you said it's evening time now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's an hour later in the evening.
Maida steps out of her room, looks out towards a window, then turns around and goes back into her room.
Good contribution.
She changes her mind.
Pekome's gonna lock herself in her room.
Okay.
Maida's gonna lock herself in her room.
Changelings are antisocial, okay?
Yeah, these ones are anyway.
Look, do you have a case study of social changelings?
Maybe. You'll see. What is,
Maida
I've
will
forgotten.
essentially just tend to her weapons and her armor.
Samesies.
Okay. So you two are kind of doing maintenance stuff. What,
And also penning a few letters.
letters. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is...
Well, Karmeon has to go on an errand to get a few return a few books and get a few more, right? And also he has to deliver the armor, and also he has
Go
to
on a
deliver
date.
the bad news and the good news to Bamilo's widow, and then he has to go on a date.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on, doesn't he?
Right, he does. And then he has to get back in time to make sure that everybody's bandages are changed and that they don't have any fresh wounds from bandit assaults that happened.
Karmeon the party mom now?
It seems so.
But Mom...
Thanks, Mamion.
So yeah. We can do as many of those errands as you'd like.
Yeah, let's
Or
get
as
started.
few.
Sorry, can you run over Karmeon's itinerary once more?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, let's
Step one.
let's look at the map, because we gotta, like the first thing Karmeon does is like open up the mini map in his head.
Yes, naturally.
Of the
It
town.
looks a lot like the map on screen.
Right.
Right
Yeah.
Except without color. Karmeon doesn't have a wild
So over
imagination.
like here-ish in the Queen's Square is the destination of delivering armor.
Yes.
Over here-ish is the
Oh, no.
eventual destination of Date.
Yes.
Over here-ish is the book destination.
Mm-hmm.
And
Number
then
30 on Summer Street.
Yeah. And then we've got deliver bad and good news to Widow.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where that
Yeah,
is.
me either, man.
Okay.
Before his adventure starts,
So, yes.
Stella, would you like to place bets on how many times he's going to get attacked by bandits?
Would you like to place bets on how many vigilant rolls he's gonna fail and not realize that he's being followed?
I'm going to say 4.
All right, so get ready to delete, but I'm gonna draw a vague shape, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
see how
so we're
Karmeon
going like,
approaches this.
this is,
Well,
delete
our
that.
house is about to be deleted.
Sorry, I needed freehand, delete that. Thanks for moving it. Okay, so we gotta go vroom, vroom, and then... Oh no, I rolled up while drawing it.
Oh my god.
Who
Okay,
let Kory draw
try
things?
number
This is
2.
our lore
Oh
master
no,
here.
wait. Try number 3.
Kory, just take your time.
Kory,
There we go.
just zoom
You can do
out.
multiple lines.
But yeah, I know, but like,
All right, so he's going through the house over there.
So this is the general route of egress, probably taking major streets instead. I think taking my time was the better plan, so we're gonna try again.
Oh my god.
Okay, so first of all, Winter Street is cursed. We're not going on Winter Street ever again.
Why? Because of cabbages?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about, Kory? Like, we've severely lowered the bandit population in Winter
Okay,
Street.
let me delete my contribution here. I was like, I'll follow the roads, but you don't want to take that road? That is okay.
This is
All right.
awful.
This is the plan. So clearly books are first, then armor, and somewhere in between there and Date is where you deliver the bad news.
Yeah.
And
What
then
a-
you go
what-
home.
Okay.
Wait, don't
Great.
forget you also have
Good.
to go check in with Bone Crusher from Aira.
No.
Okay. Great. So you can just get right over to the Orda Magica, drop off the resources that you have copies
Yes.
of.
And maybe some, like a book on, historical means of storage and devices by the ancient Symbar people.
Yeah.
Particularly pottery based. Also a book on ancient Symbar botany.
So you'll
And-
probably find at least one volume that you can peruse on
Yeah.
botany. The pottery is probably going to be relegated to a bit of a paragraph here or there on other stuff.
Okay.
I don't think there's probably an authoritative volume on ceramic storage methods for questionable liquids.
Okay. Yeah. Also, maybe it's gonna be like a much broader search on trying to figure out what the fuck that dagger is.
Mayra's?
Yeah.
How much of it has she shown off to the other
The
two?
dagger?
Yeah. At
Mhm.
least once to.
Oh,
She showed it off.
no. She didn't show you the dagger at all, ever.
Didn't show it to Master
Pagome's never seen
Furia.
it.
No.
Okay, if she didn't. I thought she showed it off to Master Furia.
No,
Nah,
she
the dagger
affixed
and
it
the
to her
necklace
belt.
are things we haven't shown anyone.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, then
I
never
rem-
mind on the dagger. Also, means of leisure and strategic entertainment. Got to make sure that the board game isn't evil and cursed, and also if it's fun, and what the rules are.
Okay.
And also, any lock picking and breaking into chess books. Scholarly,
Scholar.
Purely hypothetical.
purely hypothetical.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a lore master. Well, actually, that's not a thing you can roll.
I mean, I can. I just click on the roll master.
Okay, yeah. Do you have it configured? Then go ahead.
Yeah. Any negatives?
Some of this is kind of niche.
You know, it is.
Let's just go with a -1, I guess. We'll see just how well you do. Pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, some of the things you're after are a little more esoteric, and questionable in terms of the Ordo's mad interests in maintaining public access to the information. But you're able to find at least a bit on more or less each of your interests that you can kind of call upon at will for the time being.
All right. And then straight on to the armor shop.
Yep. Sounds good.
Probably sometime during this, Meira will eventually emerge from her room,
Mm-hmm.
and she would have taken off her traveling equipment and most of her stuff. She'll keep the dagger, the black dagger, to her belt, and she'll knock on Pekome's door.
Who is it?
Meira.
Is anyone else with you?
No.
There's silence for a minute before you hear someone get up and start messing with the lock on the door.
Meira patiently waits while tapping her foot impatiently.
Pekome opens it a crack to make sure it's you.
I am going out to eat. I am starving. Would you like to come with me?
No.
You know, if you leave your cloak behind, no one will know who you are. You could be anybody you like.
Generally, being seen hasn't been good for me.
This is probably the first time that Maida is like mentioning or bringing light to the fact that you're a changeling. Because every other time she's just sort of dismissed it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Maida begin to take off her hood and her mask, and she holds them out to you.
Pekome just stares at your hand for a minute, not quite sure what's going on here.
You could be anybody.
I can't. I can only be a Bori.
You could be a Bori in a mask.
She chuckles a bit at that, and then there's a realization. Oh, right. Meira,
What?
you owe me 10 Thaler.
Why? She pulls her hand back.
We still owe money for our license.
And she puts her hood and her mask back on. I'll pay you after dinner. She's already turning away and beginning to walk out of the house.
If you don't pay me now, I'm taking double out next time.
No! And the front door slams shut. And Maida is going to go to we went to the dump, right? That was where we went when we first came into Thistlehold?
I think so.
Yeah, we went to the worst bar we could find.
Well, it's a bit farther away. The closest one is Afadir's Triumph Tavern, but that sounds super pretentious. Got the word triumph in it. So Maida is going to just go northeast, take Ophelia's Road and Harvest Street, and basically go to the dump.
Pekome's gonna lock her door again.
Okay, so Peckham is kind of staying in and brooding.
Yes, in a windowless room. Who needs sunlight?
Sounds good. So when Karmeon finds his way to the armor shop, the shop is not entirely closed, but it's mostly closed, which is to say that the large troll that works it is not there anymore. However, one of the little goblin attendants that hang out there is still there, and he'll take the armor that Karmeon is burdened by and kind of look it over, ask what he wants done with it, and find out sort of the details for that affair before kind of negotiating a fee.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Oh, it's 45 Thaler.
yeah. 40 Taylor. I lost the page that I was on, but
Well, you know what they say,
basically
if they
you
lose
just
the
want
price tag, it's free.
the armor more or less unified, right? Like looking more like one kit with the Hesbury crest on the breastplate. Is that the overall intention?
And a general resize to like actually fit properly.
Mm-hmm. And are you trying to expedite this to get it done very quickly, or what?
Well, that's up to what Karmeon says. She just told him to get a refit.
Yeah. I mean, Karmeon might like to leave tomorrow, so that's what he's going to find out about.
Alrighty, no problem. So a full set of full plate is 50 Thaler, given that you have kind of a mixed amalgamation of
Well, no, she's got the full set of the pale armor. She took the extra pieces. That's what she sent over.
Okay. So you are just sending the pale armor and trying to have it cut down?
Yes.
Okay. So base heavy armor is 10 Thaler, full plate is 50 Thaler. This is definitely full plate. It is, high quality armor, but it is also definitely not suitable for use right now. And after a bit of discussion, you discover that it's going to cost 20 Thaler to have it kind of cut down to size and made workable for someone of Peykome's stature.
And how long will that take?
It will take a week.
Okay. Karmeon passes over the armor and the Thaler required.
Alrighty, great. So Mayura finds her way to the dump and enters the dump.
Is it crowded tonight?
It's kind of middling. It is a little busy. There's a steady flow of people who, excuse me, are sort of coming in or coming out. Usually not alone, more so in groups, 2s or 3s. You do get the sense that the majority of people who are kind of passing through the tavern are regulars. A number of them kind of just head over to areas with a very familiar air to their demeanors and their movements. And occasionally one of them will lean in to whisper something quietly to the bartender. But there's still room to sit down and plenty of room to observe or to grab a drink as well.
Maida will sit down at the bar. Probably, if it is not a straight shape, if it's kind of got a bend to it, so she'll position herself in a spot that gives her a good vantage of people watching, basically.
Sure. So it is pretty straight. It's just a little cheaper that way. But it does extend all the way to one of the side walls, and that corner slot is unoccupied right now, and she can kind of tuck up there to get a good view of the rest of the room.
Yeah. She'll order some food and drink.
Sounds good. Within a couple minutes, at least for the drink, her order finds its way to her. And is she doing anything in particular, or just kind of unwinding?
So she's eavesdropping
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to have a look around and see if she can notice anybody, particularly maybe any city guards that might be here, because we're kind of not too far away from where we were earlier. Yeah, it's definitely a long shot, but I'm just curious about the area.
Okay, sure. Go ahead and let's see here. Okay, go ahead and roll your cunning.
Oh god. My cunning's 5.
Oh.
Ugh.
Okay. So the folks that are here are pretty just routine. There look to be a couple folks that you might describe as treasure hunters. They have all the armor, the gear that supposes that they're either getting ready to head out on a trip or they've gotten back from one. They have very worn down leather garbs, and there's a sword to be found here or there. In another corner, there are 2 people who look like they might be city guards, although they do appear to be off duty. You see, they're wearing parts of the uniform, but they're far too relaxed to be anyone that could be expected to be called into activity pretty soon, and they're kind of drinking enough liquor that they're certainly not in any behavior or state to do real guarding. And the rest of the folk in the tavern appear to just be citizens. It's harder to tell what's going on with them at a glance.
Okay. Is anyone she's eavesdropping, is anyone saying anything interesting?
Go ahead and roll vigilance.
Hopefully we do better there. Oh god. Nope.
There's enough of a buzz going on at the tavern that it's a little difficult to really get what people are saying. There's a snippet of conversation here or there. You hear one of the nearer tables to the bar where you're sitting appears to be absorbed in a conversation about someone's companion or coworker or fellow caravan guard. It's a little difficult to tell exactly what's being said, even at that distance. And you almost get the sense that the corner where Mayra has settled maybe focuses in the sounds from everywhere just a little too much. It turns into a jumble, and it's very difficult to discern one word from the next.
Maida gets a little frustrated at that, and she makes a mental note to never sit in the corner ever again if she tries this in the future. And she just sort of resigns to just devouring her meal, and she will leave a pretty big tip and then make her way back home, probably.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so the bill, if she's just getting like a drink and a meal, is probably going to be in the order of about 4 shillings. So you can, deduct that plus any tip.
Okay,
Yeah.
she'll give a shilling of tip.
Okay. And let's see. So Karmeon has made his way from the armor shop up to Toad Square and into the salons of Symbaroum.
Yep.
How tasty was the food, by the way?
It was pretty good. Not necessarily the end all be all, but certainly decent, you'd say. Interesting. So the salons are a pretty interesting experience. They have a lofty name, and the interior is actually quite nice. But the odd thing is that it's in a fairly unsavory part of town. Toad Square is not necessarily where you want to be most of the time. And as Karmeon approaches, there is a man who's kind of raving outside the door of the Salons of Symbaroum. Actually, it's a woman. Sorry, got that one wrong. And you can't quite pick up what she's saying until you get closer, and she spots Karmeon. But there are a couple people who are also passing by, so she doesn't necessarily focus in on him more than any others, but she sort of shouts out about some sort of a dream or a vision of just this bellowing in the dark and of hammering rain and the roar of wind. And unless Karmeon stops, he'll just kind of pass by and get inside and won't have to think more on it. But she's just ranting. And it's not necessarily the most appealing thing to set your mind up for a date or any other particular excursion. Does he just go inside?
I mean, he'll probably honestly hurry past more than this is just your general, I don't know that Ambrians have this any less than Americans, but there are people on the corner yelling that the world is ending and the end is nigh, and at least we don't have to worry that they're right, and also that they might sprout plant limbs and try and kill you with them.
Right. Yep. So Karmeon hunches his shoulders down a little bit and just tries to scoot
picks
past.
Up the pace. Yeah,
as quickly as he can.
Yeah.
Inside the Salons of Symbaroum, everything's much nicer. The wood is of high quality. It appears very clean. The walls are nice. They're covered in these colorful drapes that speak to the heraldry of the different noble houses that have survived the flight and the creation of Ambria. And it does appear to be a little bustling. There are pretty finely clothed people just about everywhere. They look a lot like Karmeon did before he got set on this course of adventuring. And you're kind of free to mingle, to search someone out, to just kind of explore whatever you're up for.
Yeah, I mean, Karmeon will definitely search out the gentleman from the Queen's legation, but if there's any particularly interesting conversations here and there, he might dip into those.
Sure. So there are knots of people that Karmeon has to sort of squeeze by or work his way past. And there's nothing particularly stand out. There's some talk here or there about a recent group of adventurers who said that they were going to head out to further explore the Earth Towers of the Black Leech Rift, which you've heard of. It's not that far, but it is one of the more notorious sites of relics out in Davokar, if not because you need to go very far, but also because it's along the path to the Sun Temple. So a lot of bands have gone past it, and a lot of bands have sort of decided to stop and explore it along the way, because why not if you're that close? And a lot of bands have died. So there's sort of a discussion going on as you pass between two people that are appearing to try and set up a wager between each other, but whether that group will ever be heard from again. And then Karmeon's passed, and there's another discussion about how Blackmoor is just getting larger, and they're bleeding out the honest merchants in Thistlehold with their, disgusting amalgamation of tense and illicit business down there, and why the bailiff, Lord Erebus, shouldn't have anything to do with that, and that the Queen should put a stop to it right away. And then Karmeon's passed, and then there's another discussion and another. And on the upper floors of the Salons of Symbaroum, there's sort of a tiered setup where, as you rise higher, there's a balcony / second floor that just kind of extends and allows a view down below, and there's some couch seating and then a denser collection of tables. And it is there that Karmeon will spot the gentleman from the Queen's Legation. He still, looks very much the clerk who went through all of your group's relics before, but he's certainly much more casual right now. He's sitting with two other people at a table and engaged in a pretty lively discussion.
Yeah, Karmeon will definitely head over. Who are the others?
So there's a fairly portly woman who's dressed pretty similarly. She's wearing a tunic with House Argona's seal on the shoulder. And then the other guy is a very thin man in a black cloak. And it's a very black cloak, you notice pretty immediately. And Karmeon would know the black cloaks. Black cloaks are a somewhat militant group of enforcers for the Church of Prios. They seek out heresy just about everywhere, and try to root it out with a fairly zealous approach. Many of them are witch hunters. This guy appears just to be hunting down some liquor right now. He's drinking, and they're all in pretty good spirits. As Karmeon gets closer, the conversation appears to be centering around the woman and a recent group that she handled who had come in, and she's kind of jesting about some of the claims they had made about the relics that she had registered for them.
Karmeon will, kind of step up and clear his throat and try and make eye contact with the male clerk.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the clearing the throat doesn't necessarily catch anyone's attention. There's quite a bit going on. But as Karmeon steps up, his presence certainly becomes noted when he doesn't move away. And the fellow in the black cloak, who's pretty thin and has a fairly weathered face and a goatee, he'll glance up and kind of eye Karmeon for a second. And then after that assessment passes, he just goes right back to the discussion with the others. And a few seconds later, the other man, I should say, looks up and takes note of Karmeon. And for a moment, he looks just a little puzzled. And then after that, he blinks and he goes, "Oh, you're Karmeon. You were one of the adventurers that I was dealing with earlier. Why, when you asked if I was going to be here, I didn't think I would end up seeing you again." And the woman, who is in the middle of her story, kind of hesitates to glance up and eye you curiously, or eye Karmeon curiously, I should say.
Karmeon will kind of step forward and, make a slight joke about, I hope we weren't as ridiculous as your friends. Client, I suppose would be the word. And he'll kind of angle towards the seat slightly.
The woman's eyebrows raise a little higher at that, and then the man that you're speaking to lets out a soft laugh, and he says, well, anyone who makes their living adventuring out in Davokar is certainly ridiculous to some extent, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. There's something about... I can't stop myself, you know? I suppose you don't, but I know I can.
Well, it takes all sorts. You're certainly doing a fine service to the Queen and to the country and to Prios himself by taming, or not being killed by, at least, the wilds out there. Why don't you take a seat?
Yeah, certainly none of us would have a job without the other. Karmeon will declare as he settles down for a seat, gesturing between the two clerks and himself.
True enough, true enough. And the woman will kind of flash Karmeon a smile, and she says, "Oh, I assure you, there's no way that your group could be any measure as overbearing and underqualified as those fools who somehow bundled their way back to me only today. Why, I can see just at a glance that you're far more competent than any of them, good sir. What's your name?"
Karmeon.
Karmeon, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And do you know anyone here personally?
Not that I've seen, not yet. No.
I see. And she'll just kind of quiet at that. And then the gentleman will stay quiet for a couple seconds, and then clear his throat. And he kind of lifts his mug, takes a sip, and then gestures at his coworker, and he says, "Oh well, allow me to make introductions. This is the esteemed Amera, who has also worked as a clerk with the Queen's Legation for some time now, and this here is what was your name again?" And the man in black will sort of smile a little wryly and then rasp out that he is named Dirk. And the gentleman will start again and say, we've only met him about 2 times before now, the last several months ago, but he's found his way back into Thistlehold, and yes, that's about the sum of it. What brings you here tonight?
I'm not in as often as I'd like to be in Thistlehold, but when I am and I have any free time at all, this seems like the sort of place I'd like to be.
That certainly makes sense. It is one of the finer establishments that we have to offer, that at least are publicly available, of course.
Yeah. Definitely not necessarily where I find myself all the time, but if I can, I think I'd like to stay here as often as I could.
Well, far be it from me to abuse you of that desire. Make yourself comfortable and enjoy yourself. Will you be getting something to drink, or will you not be staying so long tonight?
I have an hour, but there is that ghastly woman outside, I don't think I should disarm myself of my wits.
Oh, Torald? Why, she's here just about every night. I think it's a ritual of Thistlehold at this point that she raves outside the Salons, and every morning the town watch drag her off to the penitentiary. And it just repeats itself end on end. You needn't be too worried about her. She just raves. She's a mad woman. She's harmless.
Okay. Well, that's her. But given Karmeon's general nightly business that he has left, he'll probably pass on, again, relieving himself of his wits.
Sure, certainly. And they're content to kind of have Karmeon as a companion for the night while they're chatting about different things. Is he just kind of looking to spend a little time? Is he going to try to get any particular information out of anyone?
No, I think just knowing names and knowing what they do, now he knows 2 people with the clerks, and though it's not necessarily often that Dirk is around, he might know 1 person with the witch finders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So he does, he makes himself sociable and makes a couple of connections. And so if he were to run into these folks again, they'd certainly know him a little better. I assume he's not, disguising himself as a noble or making demands of the people around him, anything
No.
Pretending to have a last name.
historically consistent with his behavior and this all to this point.
Yeah, no, he's well behaved.
Great, that is good news. And yeah, time passes quickly. It's not too long that he's there if he's just spending an hour, but it's nice. Yeah, he gets to unwind just a little bit. They are certainly all a little more conversational than your changelings are.
What do you mean his changeling?
Well, you're his changelings.
Yeah. The
So
other
are you okay
changelings
with
are
this?
mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I am the only normal person in the party, so...
Normal's a strong word.
By-
And also, Mayra could be normal whenever she wants.
A light in Davokar is basically Star Wars, okay?
Oh.
There's mystical artifacts that draw you to the dark side. There's a bureaucracy-heavy, centralized presence of a rather militarized government looking for people not involved in the prescribed means of contacting the mystical forces. I mean, there's a lot of parallels between the Empire and Ambrians, and between Star Wars in general and, Davokar. So
Not sure how sold I'm on that, but
I have to be the ones to talk to the normal humans on behalf of our alien party members.
Alien?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're basically what, Zabrax? You've got the horns.
That's racist. We shouldn't take Karmeon anywhere anymore.
So what's happening back home?
Maida is probably going to sleep soon.
Pekome finishes writing up her missives and seals them.
this is what I'm saying about them being more conversational.
Hey, Pekome wrote letters. That's conversation of a sort.
Maida talked to the bartender. By talk, I mean place an order.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And so once he's done at the forum, right? Yeah.
Salons of Symbaroum.
Salon forum, yeah. The salon. Once he's done at the salon, he will want to make the tragic last stop before returning home of relaying the bad news that his companion was he's buried under rocks. That's the story.
Danilo is buried under rocks in a caved section of the ruin and will not
being eaten by trolls.
Dear wife.
Milo is buried under rocks, and you have maybe a year or two to get your feet out under you before the Ordo Magica does not assist you in any fashion.
Okay. Sure. So Bimo's wife welcomes Karmeon in. She looks a little expectant and hesitant and pained to see him. And the news goes over. Well, she's not really surprised that Karmeon did not come back with a body. It was a long shot, perhaps, to hope that she would see him in any form ever again, right?
Yeah.
But she expresses a lot of gratitude at sort of the secured finances from the Ordo Magica when he mentions them, and she's on the overall just extremely grateful, and kind of on the verge of tears the entire time.
Karmeon quickly leaves before there are tears.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so he delivers the news and runs away. Sounds good?
Yes.
Wow, Karmeon. She needed comfort.
Yeah, but Karmeon's kind of complicit because, this whole
He fed her to
profession...
trolls.
This whole profession is something of a meat grinder, and really should he have been out there at all? And, he's out. He's gone.
I mean, he hasn't even
There's
talked
no
to Arrow's widow to tell them how they died.
Who? Oh, no, Arrow didn't have... Listen. First of all, it was Arrow. We were just all making fun of the irony that he died by Arrow. And
That is
second of
true.
all, they didn't have family in
It's
town.
true. Also true.
Yes.
That's true. That's a sad story. So you were the closest thing they had to family.
Yeah. And so Karmeon will not necessarily break into the house, but given his book-burdened nature, will perhaps noisily enter the house and then begin yelling for people.
Mayra, go see who that is.
Maida opens the door, lets Karmeon in.
Mayor, do you want your bandages changed? Was that Pickle May?
Was that Karmeon?
Yes. And she begins to undo her armor so he can deal with her bandages.
All right.
Did he get mugged by bandits again?
No.
I like how Maida got asked 3 questions, and the answer to all of them was just a single yes.
Okay, well, Karmeon at least deals with himself and Mayra in alphabetical order.
Picome will slowly unlock the door.
Alright, Karmeon gets nothing from himself. Mayra gets 1 hit point.
Hey, nice, Mayra.
Thanks. I'll take what I can get.
Picome peeks out the door to make sure it is in fact Karmeon.
You owe me 20 Thaler, and it's gonna take a week.
A week is too long.
Then go back and pay them more. Or, Anyway, it was gonna cost more than that, but I didn't know, Karmeon continues changing his own bandages, though perhaps to little effect.
Karmeon, I have more tasks for you on the morrow.
I got a lot of reading to do, but okay.
They're important.
Okay. Karmeon moves on to Mayra. Do you want your bandages changed, Pickle May?
Only in here.
Karmeon rolls his eyes.
Maida rolls her eyes.
Look, there's no windows in that room.
And Karmeon moves to the inner windowless room.
Maida slinks off to her room and slams the door.
Stop slamming the door or you're gonna pay for it.
Only 1 hit point returned to Pickle May.
Hey, that's better than he did on himself.
Yeah. Alright, Karmeon.
Now,
shoves him
the
out.
smell when you're changing the
Oh,
bandages
yes, right.
for Pekome is
And also
pretty
in a
unpleasant.
room that has
There's
been
brimstone, there's sulfur, there's no air circulation in this room at all.
It would be really, and Karmeon is saying this, it would be really, hypocritical of me to mention this, given my eyes. But you're an assault to the senses?
She's gonna kick him out of the room.
Karmeon is kicked out of the room, perhaps explaining why the medical treatment was so piddling.
Shoddy, yeah.
She's also gonna take that as an affront to her being a changeling. And lock the door behind him.
Okay. Karmeon heads outside and does some light reading and goes to sleep at the chair at the table.
Great, sounds good. And has Meira sort of gone back to sleep again?
Yeah. I think at one point in the middle of the night she would have poked her head out, and seeing that people have kind of settled in for the night, she'll go get Dane's blanket and unfurl it and put it on Karmeon again, and then she'll go to sleep in her own room.
This time the blanket's on fire.
Please no.
Depressing.
Big sad. So do we get mugged in our sleep, Kevin?
No, nothing really happens overnight. You get a full night's restful sleep.
That's one whole stat point. That's like a free Karmeon healing.
Oh, recency bias.
Look, from what you've seen of Pekome lately, do you really feel like she has a long-term memory?
No. I certainly do not.
Meira will wake up early the next day, and she will have all of her things set and ready to go, ready to hit the road. And she bursts into the main room and shakes Karmeon awake.
Ah! What?
We should leave soon.
Pekome's army won't be ready for a week?
What, we are going to wait a week?
Well, probably not. Karmeon is rather wide-eyed and startled. And
Pekome slowly comes out of her room.
What's she wearing?
Stella, I think you mean what'd she wear?
What is she wearing? That's the sound I make when I waggle my eyebrows.
She's wearing very colorful and luxuriant robes.
Like, I'm luxurious and going outside robes, or I'm luxurious and this is totally my insides look?
She just got out of bed.
Okay. So, the latter.
This is the I'm not going outside with this look. Yeah, okay.
But also the robes are really soft.
They're nobles' robes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because she's a noble.
Okay.
Alright, she's going to pull Karmeon aside.
Yeah, is this about the thing?
Two things.
Two things.
Never mind, one thing.
One thing.
She's gonna pull out two letters that are sealed with the symbol of House Kory.
Okay.
And she's gonna hand them to him. I need you to get both of these delivered.
Two?
One goes to my house.
Okay.
The other is sent to the Rage Knight.
Who's the Rage Knight?
Only the greatest knight in the lands, she says with a bit of a spark in her eyes.
Oh, okay. Is this true? DM?
No.
Look,
It is not true.
it's personal bias.
It is extremely personal bias.
Okay.
She's allowed to have personal bias. And then she's gonna shove Karmeon away.
Okay,
And call
Karmeon.
over Mayura.
Maida was totally eavesdropping on the whole conversation. Maida slinks over. What? What do you want?
You have to go pay our fees.
What? Why
What we
me?
still owe for the adventurer's license.
She holds out her hand expectantly.
Pekome gives her 20 sailor, and then says that the other 10 is from her own stash.
Who do I pay this to?
The person taking care of your dog.
Ah, Reva. Pekome,
She stares at you.
are we really staying for a whole week?
We cannot.
Are we leaving? She's still got her backpack on. Are we leaving soon?
She sighs. Karmeon,
Ah?
go see how much it would cost and how much time we would save if they rushed the armor.
Okay.
And she's gonna stop and think, and then sigh, and go back to her room for a moment.
Karmeon sets off.
But as he opens the door, she yells out, "Don't leave yet!"
Oh! Karmeon shuts the door.
She comes back with the pale sword in its makeshift sheath and hands it to Karmeon. Sell this to help pay for the armor.
Okay.
And then she shoves him out the door.
All right. Karmeon sets off.
Maida finds Dane's blanket, unfurls it, folds it neatly, puts it down on a chair, and then she heads out.
You should get a better blanket.
Does she say that?
Yes.
Ooh.
She doesn't know it stains.
Maida pointedly does not look at you. She ignores you. Goes out the front door and she slams it really hard behind her.
Pekome locks it behind her.
Yeah, really hard. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't laugh at that, Kevin. That was a
So,
painful moment.
Who heads where first?
Karmeon takes Lassifer's Road straight to the ogre's smithery.
Can we delete that pink one?
Smithy.
Yeah.
No, it is mine. Damn you.
Was yours. Okay. So Carmen heads along Last Force Road. He's holding the
Wow,
pale
someone
sword
deleted me.
that's gathered.
Oh, Mayor
me.
is dead.
It's fine.
Bandits.
I won't be held back by a simple token.
So you get to oh, hold on. Please hold. What time is it in the morning that you're heading out here, by the way?
Maida would have woken them up pretty early.
Yeah, it sounds like Mayra wants to leave immediately.
Yeah.
Like dawn.
What gave you that impression? The fact that she was already wearing her backpack? So you get to Big Basher's smithy. And as you head in, Big Basher is there. The goblins that aren't there right now. And it doesn't look like there are any customers. So it's just Big Basher. He's towards the back at an anvil, hammering away at some red-hot piece of metal that has yet to take shape.
Hey, Basher, I was in here with an order yesterday, and I'm being told the agreement that we came to is no good, and we need a new one.
Big Basher straightens up and turns around and stares down at Karmeon for a few seconds before going, "Which agreement?"
It's the one, and then he'll kind of show off the pale sword and, free it from its makeshift sheath in a very utterly non-threatening, but please look at this manner. It's the same, like, design as this, the armor and metal, right? It's going to take, well, you'll be done in a week. I don't think it'll take you a week, but, you've got orders in the way. It'll take you however long it takes you. How do we get you doing it first? Fixing the armor.
Big Basher hums and lets out a very expensive breath. And then he turns back to his metal and he continues working it. And over the clings of his tools, as he's going away at his craft, he sort of explains, I've got a lot of orders first. It would cost a lot to put yours first. There are nobles waiting, and nobles get so angry.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm here. An angry noble.
I don't care if nobles are angry at you.
Yeah, but do you like the sword?
He glances over his shoulder and assesses the sword. And goes back to working on his own and says it's a good sword. That metal looks different.
And you're gonna be trimming that suit down. You're gonna get a bit of metal from it, I bet. And
I'll
you could
get
make
that no matter what time I work on it.
I know, but now if you get this sword, you get even more. You can take all that metal and this sword's metal and make just about anything you want.
You want to give me that sword in exchange for doing the work on your armor faster.
That's just the start of what you're being offered.
Mm-hmm. Big Basher looks back at the sword again, and go ahead and give me a vigilant roll, or let me double check some of these proposed rolling conditions. Make sure I'm giving you the right one here.
He sounds very cunning right now.
Sounds persuasive.
Well,
listen, I had to roll a 5 with my cunning.
Stay out of this, Stella. We don't do persuasive rolls.
Strong. Roll strong. Arm wrestle him right now.
So go ahead and give me a vigilant roll.
Uh-huh.
Just flat.
Karmeon doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
He's too big.
Can you roll it better?
And go ahead and give me a persuasive roll.
Okay.
1. Ooh.
Karmeon, smile.
Yeah. So Karmeon is a little too involved with trying to get this deal off to notice perhaps just the extent to which there's sort of a cunning glint in Big Basher.
Yes, he's using the Dane strategy.
The Danes, yeah, pretty much. I forgot about the patented Dane strategy. So Big Basher shrugs and says, all right, I can start with that. If you want me to do your armor soon, I can do it in a day for that sword and for 15 more thaler.
How about 13? Cause I need to buy out. Well, I guess she'll pay me back. You know what? She'll pay me back. I don't even care. Yeah.
And Big Basher pulls out the metal with a pair of tongs from the anvil and shakes off some of the ruined shavings of metal along the corners and then shoves the larger piece back into the kiln. And he'll turn and lumber over to Karmeon and extend one hand for the sword and another hand for the coin.
All right, Karmeon passes over first the coin, and then I'll pass over the sword. But it'll be like, just, if you let us see whatever you were planning on selling with this, that would be appreciated. And he'll, pass over the sword then.
Big Basher responds with very doubtful, "I'll think about it," and turns away to stash his newly gotten money and says, "If you come back tomorrow morning, I should have your armor finished."
I feel like Karmeon got swindled.
Yeah, maybe, but Karmeon didn't get swindled.
Karmeon feels great about this deal.
Karmeon didn't get swindled.
He got swindled in another part because it's not his money.
Yeah, Karmeon did not get swindled at all. Someone
This
else
is how
got
Karmeon
swindled.
never gets Thaler again.
I don't know. This is listen. This is a deal. You're buying armor in a day. You didn't have it. Now you do.
Well, I had armor. It was just
It's
too
not
big.
Good. All right. So Karmeon dusts his hands off and heads to the post office.
I'm sorry. Let's back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
The post office?
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Is it rookeries in Symbaroum?
Yeah. Runners?
No, I mean, so you can hire a messenger, but there isn't like a guild
of
messengers. Like, if you're getting a messenger, say someone shows up to give Pekome a letter from her family, it's going to be someone on retainer for House Bori delivering that message.
and
If you're a commoner, you're not really writing to other people.
Does Bori have any local retainers that would
not
have
unless
been
Pekome
passed on?
hires them. That said, so you're not without options. You can try to find someone, but you're going to be giving someone a pair of letters and you're going to be giving them money, and then you're going to be like, I hope those go in the right place. However, your best bet. Oh, hang on.
He's looking up how to swindle Kory.
Sorry, this is just so I don't know. Have you guys ever had the thing happen where, like, right as you're yawning or before you yawn, it kind of feels like there's something vibrating in your inner ear, like it's just creaking a little bit, like a door might creak? Is that an accurate description of something other people feel?
Does it feel like kind of like a pressure?
Twitch chat. Answer question.
It's a little difficult to describe. I don't know if I've done it the most justice, but yeah, it's kind of like just I don't know, like creaking or a little rubbing back and forth.
Does it feel like when a table has one leg that's slightly shorter than the others and you kind of tilt it a little bit, like something like that's tilting in your ear for a split second and then it gets back into place?
No, it's slower than that.
Are you
Okay,
able to move your ears on your own?
Yeah.
Does it feel like when you're moving your ears?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop the comparison there. Anyway, the point being, for the last several days, I've had that just randomly happen, completely divorced from yawning at all, and it's really weird, and it goes on for like almost a minute at a time, and it's very strange. And that was happening, and it was distracting, but it stopped, and we can move on.
Okay. I wish I'd chosen to go pee.
Well.
During all of that, but
yeah, it's all right. After we can take a quick break when this situation is resolved.
Okay.
So Yeah, Karmeon's best bet might be to go to the barracks and try to find some soldiers that are going to be heading back along the way to...
Where is this going?
That was for Pekome.
I told you.
Okay, yeah, but I don't actually know where your house is, and I don't remember the other one.
It's been months. I leave that up to DM discretion for locations.
Saragon is the region where House Bori is located, in the proximity of Castor.
Oh, yes, and I don't know how to find... Karmeon actually probably... are there, town criers?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What's the tiniest amount of money? Let's look.
One Orteg?
One Orteg.
Karmeon finds a town Orteg.
A town Orteg and gives them a one crier.
Yeah, sorry.
He finds a town crier.
5 thaler. Finds a town crier and just hands him. He actually doesn't. He just has 5 thaler and 6 shillings. So he just hands him a shilling and he's like, who in Prios's name is the... And then I'll pull out the letter and be like, the red... No. What is it?
The Rage Knight?
The Rage Knight!
The town crier stares at Karmeon in confusion and then shakes his head and goes, I have absolutely no idea who you're talking about. Maybe he's one of the gladiators that fights beasts for show? I can't say that I'm familiar with the name at all.
Well, you tried. Karmeon leaves him with the shilling and heads off to the barracks.
Okay. He gets there.
Yeah. Karmeon will see if there's any, caravans being assembled.
It just so happens that there's no caravan like right there right now, but as he's poking around, he does, manage to get the attention of a handful of guards in various liveries that are just killing time outside the barracks, and they do say that there's going to be a detachment of men who are heading east from Thistlefold come the morning. Well, east by way of south, because there's not really a road that runs directly alongside the forest for obvious reasons. And he would be able to secure the attention of a soldier who's going to be heading that way, and he can pay them 2 thaler to promise to hold on to the letter and deliver it.
So Karmeon's actually going to spin a wonderful tale.
Okay.
About how House Bori has this great system wherein anyone who delivers a letter to them can be shown the payment they were given for that delivery.
Yeah.
And will be given that many thalers in addition to the shillings they were paid.
But then they could just show a random amount of shillings.
The guard gives Karmeon
He's picking the biggest guard possible.
the biggest guard possible.
Yeah.
Is this on the assumption that if he's that big, he's not as smart?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Which is a reasonable assumption in
after
a
he
system
just
where
got
you're only
swindled by a
granted 80
blacksmith.
points.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Kory.
My assessment of natural laws in Davokar's proposed that the larger a man is, the less points he has left to put into intellect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Clearly.
Okay. So Karmeon finds the largest looking brute of a guard and says, hey, listen, I give you 3 shillings in these letters, 5 shillings in these letters.
And House
when
Bori
you
will
get
pay
to
you.
Castor, House Bori will pay you 1 thaler for each shilling, which means you'll get 5 thaler.
Jesus, Kory.
And the guard kind of regards Karmeon flatly, and then gives an expansive shrug and takes both letters. And he doesn't even look at them. He just tucks them away in a little leather satchel that's affixed to his belt. More of a pouch, not a pouch. What do we call that?
A pouch?
And, yeah, I don't know. Case, a traveling case or something like that. And he'll take the shillings and flip them over in his gloved hand, and then say, "All right, I'll do it."
Okay. And then
Well, I feel
Karmeon.
like you could have just given him 5 shillings.
All right. Because Kevin said it would be 1 or 2 thaler.
Yes.
Clearly.
Okay.
Also, I had 5 shillings and I just wanted to use them. Well, I had 6 shillings and I just wanted to use them.
Wow, so you cheated him, is what you're saying.
Well, no, I used 1 on the crier. And that is Karmeon's business for the day, and he heads back home. I'm gonna go pee.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in Maira town.
Yeah, let's see what Mayura gets up to.
Maida heads to Rayvold's house.
Okay. Yeah, Rayvold swings the door open upon hearing a knock, and upon seeing Mayura, he will kind of step back and wave her inside and go, "Pleasure seeing you again. What's new for those in the service to House Bori?"
Maida sort of wanders around the main room, and she's just kind of glancing over things as she often does. And she says, "I have the payment for the license."
Well, Rayvold brightens considerably at that, and he'll, gesture Mayra over to one of the armchairs by the fireplace and say, "Well, you're more than welcome to repay that debt. That's excellent news. I wasn't entirely sure how quickly the 3 of you would come through with that." And he's already working on a mug of something, despite the hour. So he'll just pick that back up and take a sip and then kind of settle down.
It's a mug of mugs.
Maida doesn't make her way over to the armchair quite yet. She just continues lingering. And she says, "Do you know anything about a man named Regard?"
He died. It was too difficult to question.
I think his internet actually died.
No.
No,
Oh,
I'm here.
okay.
Regard, Rayvold considers that for a few seconds, and then kind of gives a bit of a shrug, and he'll say, "I can't say that the name rings a bell."
Do you know anything about a barbarian of the name Kodomar?
Kodamar, over in Blackmore? Yeah, I'd say just about anyone who's been to Blackmore knows of him. He runs a sort of a hawking merchant thing out at just about the center of the tent town. He's always looking for artifacts and trinkets and anything else he can sell, or any manner of deals he can get a hand in.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Do you know anything of his disposition?
Disposition?
Well, what is his reputation?
Reputation? Well, he's greedy, and I wouldn't necessarily say he's trustworthy, but he seems to stick with enough deals that people are likely to do business with him. Was there something specific about him you're curious after?
Is he trouble to do business with?
Trouble? Well, I wouldn't say there's anyone in Blackmore that isn't trouble in one way or another, but I don't know of any particular concerns that specifically... Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything bad about this fella. Keep your eyes open, at least.
Do we know what Rayvald's involvement with House Bori is?
So he fought for House Bori in the war against the Dark Lords before the flight of people to Ambria and the creation of the Ambrian nation. So he was basically tight with Peikame's dad, and did a little bit of fighting and hunting for them in the old world, essentially.
Okay, so it's reasonable to say that he cares about House Bori, or at least was loyal enough to them for some time in the past.
Yeah, he has history with House Bori, at least.
Okay. Maida kind of watches his reaction, and she'll just flat out say, "We are transporting a chest to Kodomar on behalf of a man named Rigard."
Rayvold doesn't say anything, but he is listening attentively. Does she go on?
She says, "Apparently, Pekome was chosen so that she could put on a show. She is expected to put on an appearance. Which is strange to me if this is a tent camp merchant. And if our employer is a city guard, I think something else is involved here."
Well, Rayvold kind of shifts in his chair and goes, "That is interesting news. Sounds like there's something going on. Do you know what kind of show they're expecting out of Lady Bori?"
I suppose wearing her namesake, showing off her sigil, association with her house. Which is never a good sign when you're transporting something in which you are told not to investigate.
Rayvold shrugs at that, and he does look a little cloudy-faced at this news. And at length he'll agree this does sound on, more shady side of things. Of course, there isn't much in Thistlehold that stands up to the light, but definitely say be careful. I can see what I can find out about this, but...
So the silver clasps that Maida had seen, were they designed in a way that had some kind of characteristic to it, or is it just like a plain clasp?
Nah, yeah, there was no
Insignia
ornamentation or
okay.
sigils identifying things. No, it's just a sign of very well-made, expensive gear.
So Maida will mention that we met in a pretty plain place in the northern part of town, and that she did notice that some of these guards that accompanied Regard had those silver clasps and very high quality weapons that were stained to be a little less noticeable. These attempts for subterfuge only deepen my questioning.
Rayvold sort of ponders the information for a little while and then shrugs and goes, I can think of a few interests of more affluent groups working through others to keep their involvement out of the public eye. In fact, that describes an awful lot of this place. But it's not much to go on.
And I think at this point, she will round around the room and stop like right by the fireplace and the armchairs, and she takes out her pouch and she begins one by one placing Thaler onto a table. And it was 30? Well, 30 Thaler she had to pay.
Yeah, I think 30 is accurate.
Okay, so she'll just like very neatly pile 30 Thaler right there.
Sure. Yeah, Rayvold will watch. He's content with any form of paying Thaler out, even individually. And there's a faint grin as he watches. He goes, well, that was an investment that certainly paid off.
We had a decent all of the items that we found in the ruins. You remember the sticks I showed you?
What about them?
70 Thaler. From the Ordo Magica.
Rayvold's brows lift a little at that, and he goes, well, that's good haul. Can't help but wonder when the Ordo starts getting involved just what those actually were.
Maida looks a little smug, or I guess her eyes look smug, and she says, And you had them right here on your table, moments before we went to the Ordo. Perhaps you should have a closer look next time.
Rayvold kind of laughs out loud at that. Shakes his head and takes a deeper drink and then gestures and says, get out of here, Mayra.
And then Maida will leave 2 extra Thaler. She'll like make it, she'll put them off to the side so it's very clearly not part of the 30. And she'll just sort of smirk at him. Her eyes are kind of twinkling, and then she will slip out and head back home.
Sounds good. Has Pekome just been chilling at home this time? Writing more letters?
Not letters per se.
Not letters per se. Okay. That means the 3 of you are back together.
As soon as someone comes in the front door, Pekome will stuff away what she was writing.
Okay. Is she in the common room, or was she in her room?
She's in her room.
Her room, okay.
It's that secretive.
In her dark blue cloak.
Okay.
Maida bursts to the front door. And she makes a whole show of taking off her backpack and just slumps down in a chair. She says, when are we going to leave? Pekome!
How many times do I have to tell you to stop slamming these doors?
And then she kind of like flops down on the table. She's like, that costs extra.
She slowly steps out of a room and heads over into the common room. How did things go with Rayvold?
Yeah. How do you suppose anybody goes when they're paid?
So you did pay him the full amount?
Of course.
She nods at that. And then, shortly after, Karmeon returns. Oh, allegedly.
Yes. Is
I hear-
Karmeon
I
back?
hear- I hear
Yes.
Karmeon slowly
Okay.
returning.
Yeah. Yeah, Karmeon will arrive much more quietly than Mayura does. Kind of step in and pretty much just, head very focusedly straight towards the table.
How many chairs do we have? Just one?
At least one.
At least one. I think you guys probably have 4 chairs. 4 is a pretty standard number.
4 is a pretty standard number, Karmeon thinks.
In response to nothing.
In response to nothing.
Maida, without looking up, says Karmeon, how long will it take?
Oh, we show up tomorrow at dawn?
For the armor?
Yeah. Just cost you another 15 thaler, so 35 thaler total.
And how much did you sell the sword for?
The sword was part of that deal.
What deal?
The deal to get your armor instantly done, Karmeon declares without looking over, starting to rifle through a book.
You were supposed to sell him the sword and then use that money to help pay to speed
It did
up.
help.
She's just gonna sigh.
He wouldn't have even done it without the sword.
Mayura,
What?
are you actually better at shopping than him?
Maida immediately sits up. Yes.
I'll remember that.
Do you remember all of the supplies that we had? There were many supplies.
She looks directly into Mayura's eyes. I remember all of the supplies.
Yes.
Because she saw into your backpack.
Yeah. Yes.
So she knows about the spyglass and stuff.
That doesn't... If that bothers Maida, she doesn't look bothered. She says, do we need more supplies? She's already, beginning to stand up.
We need to restock on food, but that can wait until we're about to leave.
Oh, and maybe some herbal cures, Karmeon comments from the table.
Maida kind of extends a hand out towards Pekome, and then it moves towards Karmeon when he talks, and then after Karmeon finishes, it goes back to Pekome. Why wait? I can go and...
Because Karmeon's deal is taking the last of my thaler.
Oh. Her hand drops.
What? No, I mean... It's taken the last of her thaler, but she has it. She just needs to pay me.
She takes out her pouch of 30 thaler and hands it to him.
There's so at least this long of a silence before Karmeon kind of notices and then reaches out to take it.
And how did Mayura react to seeing this money just pass right by in front of her?
Her eyes kind of glue to it, and her head turns with it as it's exchanged.
Okay. Karmeon is clearly thinking out loud. Half of a thaler goes back to me on top of 35 thaler. which means, yeah.
Hello,
Is there only
raiders!
35
Welcome!
days?
Runaway Robot, thank you so much for the raid! Welcome to Symbaroum. This is our Swedish TTRPG game that we are playing, and we are currently doing kind of like a shopping / missives / errands before we head out of the city.
My armor got melted by acid.
Pekome has no armor, so she salvaged ancient armor for someone that's very, very, very tall and large and is getting it reshaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Elf armor,
everyone.
probably, maybe. Who knows? So yeah, Karmeon kind of just starts writing some things down and passes over. How much do I owe you, Pegame?
Do you owe me?
No, not Pegame Mayra. I'm thinking.
You owe me a thaler for the hat. The hand
Okay.
goes right back up towards you.
Karmeon passes over.
Is
one
Karmeon
thaler.
wearing the hat?
No, the hat, in fact, was visibly disposed of during his act. He's wearing the bandit's hat that is much nicer.
All right.
Yeah, he had to visibly dispose of the
paid-
hat as if it
Wait.
was...
Pekome looks at Mayura. What hat did you pay a thaler for?
Finder's fee. And Maida puts her backpack back on. She says, "If I go get supplies, will you pay me back, Pekome?"
Not for your own supplies.
You can I will chip in 3 thaler and I will give you 10 thaler. I want a nice big horse.
Maida kind of squints her eyes over at Karmeon, and then she says, "I will bill it to the house."
What?
This
Because
is what she
that's a
tried
thing,
last
right?
time.
Because like you can just say you don't have to pay the merchants up front, right? I think that's what we did last time.
Well, that's what you did for like the potion seller. You sent them to this house and had Pekome pay.
Right. Yes.
Though I don't think they were happy about it.
I thought that was like a normal thing.
DM.
Yeah, it's situational. I think there are a lot of deals where, you want to get your money right away because the person that you're dealing with might get themselves killed in the forest or might just leave,
True.
But given that the name, I think, for the house is under Pekome Bori, there's a little more leniency there.
All right.
And so far, we haven't skipped a payment on something.
Yep.
Okay. Maida's going to go shopping.
Mayura,
What?
essentials only.
Okay. Door slams.
And a horse for that
Karmeon.
chest.
Go with her.
What? No, I have
Oh,
so much
I
reading
slammed
to do.
the door so hard. Wait, let me confirm
Did
this.
she break our door?
Oh.
DM, did you just break our door?
Wow. I mean, she is trying to slam it as hard as she possibly can, right? Like,
Yeah.
not just trying, but succeeding.
Maida likes to punctuate her sentences with door slamming.
Door slamming.
It's part of the
Excellent.
barbarian tongue. They
Yeah,
adapted
so
it since they
Mira
left
slams
Kent.
the door so hard that it kind of clasps shut and then rebounds, and it rips the metal bracketing for the frame of the door just straight off. So the door is hanging ajar by an inch or so as she heads off on her shopping trip, and is clearly damaged to the point that it will not be closing or staying closed properly anymore.
Oh,
Well-
beautiful. Maida does not look back, no matter
Well,
how crunchy it
Karmeon.
sounds.
You now have a new task today.
I have to read, Karmeon says, having found food somewhere.
We've already been mugged once. We need a door.
I'm not going anywhere.
She lifts him up by the back of his collar.
No, I mean, I'm not going anywhere because I can watch the door from here.
No, we need to get the door fixed.
Mayra will get the door fixed on her way back.
Mayor will pay for it. You will get the door fixed.
I have so much reading to do.
The books aren't going anywhere. This door
My
might if we
time
don't get it
is-
fixed.
Someone's gonna steal our door.
Karmeon reluctantly leaves.
Pekome locks herself in her room.
Wait,
Yes,
where's
I
the
know.
chest?
She's gonna slowly bring that to her room by herself and then lock the door.
Okay.
Are there any carpenters in the antique plaza?
No. So the Antique Plaza is mostly reserved for hawkers that are dealing with artifacts and trinkets from ancient Symbar. So you're not going to be able to find a fellow right outside. However, it's not too bad. After that, you can find one with relative ease. It does not take long to find someone who's willing to
Come back
prepare
and
your
fix the door.
for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a burly woman comes along and takes a look at it and just starts repairing it on the spot and inquires why or how the door was broken in such a fashion because it looks like someone kicked it in.
The wind.
She stops trying to keep up conversation after that.
Karmeon
Okay.
single-handedly
Well, please.
alienates all of Thistleholt.
And reads.
See, Kevin, this is why the rest of us are not conversationalists. Because, like, we have such a bad example in Karmeon.
I'm beginning to see where you're coming from.
Like, if this is what all conversations are, why partake?
Okay, so you get the door repaired. Well, Mayura is out. Where does she head out?
So Maida's gonna make a few stops. She's going to go get some supplies. She's gonna get a new lantern, some lamp oil, some torches. She's going to go get some food. For traveling food. She's going to look at getting herself some armor.
Sure. What kind of armor is she after?
I'm trying to very quickly find the armor, but before we do that, she's gonna also get some medicine too. She'll stop and get the is it the herbal cure?
Yeah.
Yes. The elixir of life is how we kill ourselves.
Okay, we don't want that one. We're gonna get
Because you and I have successfully rolled a max corruption both times we've used it.
Yeah, so the antidotes are on the alchemical elixirs are on 153, and the armor is like right above that.
We should still have 2 antidotes? Or 3? No, yeah, we haven't been poisoned yet, have we?
No, yeah, I don't believe you used any antidotes.
No, we have not. Okay, so she's gonna get 5
Or
herbal cures. She'll get 3 whey bread.
I think Pekome used one, didn't she?
The antidote? Yeah, we were fighting those, like, tunnel things, and I think they had venom.
Yeah, the Meerkats, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the only one, so you should still have a stock of others. In any case, so what are the elixirs you're grabbing? Sorry.
Just 5 herbal cure.
For
Okay,
70
5
Thaler.
herbal cures at 1 Thaler each would be 5 Thaler.
I've got a list here, so I'll tell you the total of everything.
Okay.
If Karmeon went through town, she was just making a shopping list.
And then, if I'm reading this right, the lacquered silk cuirass is medium?
Yeah.
Flexible means like it's not impeding, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Flexible does not give you an impeding penalty.
It reduces it, I thought.
No, they have a weird phrasing because it's translated.
in multiple parts, but it removes impede.
No, I'm pretty sure. The reason I'm sure of this is
I
light
see.
No,
armor has.
yeah. Flexible reduces it by 1 step.
Yeah.
Medium would have -1 instead of -2, and heavy would have -2 instead of -4.
I see. Okay. She's
Or
gonna,
-3.
Or just be a man at arms.
so she'll buy a set of lacquered silk medium armor.
Okay. That is 25 Thaler.
Oh my.
What does this look like?
Lacquered silk.
Barbarian warriors that have earned their place in the guard of a wealthy clan chieftain can sometimes be seen wearing a cuirass of lacquered silk. Despite its apparent lightness, it protects like a breastplate. It's given to humankind by the elves, according to legend.
Well, first of all, can I find a suit of this armor? Is it available?
So lacquered silk is not something that Ambrians are capable of making themselves. So really the only way that Mayra would be able to find it is by finding barbarians. Now there are a couple collections of sort of little niches of barbarian culture that are kind of allowed to survive within Thistlehold, although they're
Like
definitely a
Mayra.
minority and not exactly kindly looked upon. We can say that Mayra is able to find. I don't know. It is sort of
Maybe a check of
a
like
restricted
trying to.
thing. Mayra is a barbarian. Let's see.
I'm happy for it to not be available. That's totally fine.
I think
we'd say that it can be something that you can kind of set after hunting, especially since you are going to be heading to Blackmoor pretty soon here, where all manner of things can be found.
Yeah, we
but
could buy it from the
definitely
guy we're delivering stuff to.
wouldn't necessarily be something that you could find with ease. So not in the
Okay.
marketplace. Anyway.
Okay. So we'll just hold off on that. All right. Yeah. So she'll buy all these things, and then her last stop is going to be the stables where she can get a horse.
A horse, of course.
a big horse.
A big horse.
Well, he didn't
Okay.
say to get a big horse.
No, he did.
Actually.
He did
He
explicitly.
said get
He
him
said-
a very big horse.
He said to get a big horse, so Maid is looking for a big horse.
Okay.
Mayra spends 8 Thaler on a horse and keeps 9 Thaler.
Wait, let me see. So a heavy horse is 7 Thaler. How much is another dog?
1 Orteg was what you paid?
1 shilling. You know, instead of a 7-horse Thaler, we could get a 10 Thaler bull.
A 7-horse Thaler?
Is that what I said?
Yeah,
Yes.
you got it back there. That's all right though.
Horses are my favorite currency.
So you'd have to pay that carpenter a shilling, by the way. I don't think I ever said that for the door. So you
Yeah,
get yourself a
Karmeon.
heavy horse. You get your. Do you buy another dog, or were you just?
I was
checking
just
it out?
joking.
Okay, good. Just
Yeah, she needs
wanted to be sure.
I
she
mean,
needs
got
crusher
yourself-
bones.
5 herbal cures. What else were you getting from the
okay.
supplies?
A lantern, 4 Orteg. Lamp oil times 3, 3 Orteg. Torches, 5 for 5 Orteg. Horse, 7 Thaler. 5 herbal cure, 5 Thaler. And 3 whey bread, 3 Thaler. So that's 10, 15. 15 Thaler. 12 Orteg.
And don't forget she needs to buy new soap after she threw her soap
Oh
away.
yeah, I need soap. I'm gonna get some soap and I'm gonna get some horse food. 'Cause that's probably a thing that we need.
Yeah. You do have a pretty decent supply, from what I recall. of,
Well, that
feed.
was before we spent like a week or something underground.
Well,
It's been like
the
two-
horses just weren't eating for most of that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't. I mean, typically, at least,
Yeah.
you don't just leave it accessible to the horse while they're tied
What,
up.
you don't just stick it to their face and then never return?
Not really how it works. No.
Oh, I can't find rope on this list.
Oh, we still have one rope.
I'm gonna buy more rope.
We burned Karmeon's.
Rope
Oh.
is 1 shilling per 50-foot length, I think.
I'm gonna get 2 ropes, and then I'm gonna get another thing of climbing equipment. Because I
Alrighty.
think it was more or less exhausted.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, soap is 5 Orteg? That's so pricey.
Smelling clean is expensive in olden times.
So, okay, that's 16 Thaler, 2 shillings, 17 Orteg.
Didn't one of you lose your sleeping bag?
Wasn't me.
Let me look.
It was probably Karmeon, considering his was the pack that was like completely ruined and thrown everywhere.
Well, I'm sorry, Maid is not thinking about that, and she's not gonna buy
Oof. Ouch.
it. Should've
Sleeping
said
roll.
something.
1. Carmeon has 1 sleeping roll.
I think you're all set on that front.
Yeah. So after looking at the horses and buying one and stabling it, Maida will return home.
Okay. Yeah, Mira makes it through a successful day of shopping. Have Karmeon and Pekame gotten up to anything this time?
Carmeon is studying.
Pekome was hiding while the door was being fixed.
Right. So Karmeon's studying, and Pekame is in her room. And eventually Mira comes back.
Maida will begin to set out supplies onto the table. She'll give 1 rope to each of them.
I got 2 whole ropes already.
She'll keep his rope. She'll keep 2 rope. She'll give out she'll put down 4 herbal cures, keeping 1 for herself. She'll put down whey bread. She'll put down torches, keeping 1 for herself. So there's 4 torches. And she'll just keep everything else on herself for now.
Pekome shoves all of the herbal cures at Karmeon.
5.
4. She said she was keeping 1 for herself.
Yeah.
Pekome will take 2 of the torches.
Okay. I think we have appropriately split everything up.
Karmeon, don't forget she owes you money.
Yeah?
Why?
Why?
You broke the door.
Oh yeah, you broke the door.
Maida holds out her hand. Pay me for the equipment.
How much was it?
I really have to do math.
You already did the math. You should have. This is what happens when you don't keep track of it.
She says,
afterwards.
you owe me 5 Thaler.
Carmeon hands over 5 whole thaler.
Cool.
Oh, there you go. He paid you 5 Thaler.
She holds out her hand to Pekome 5 Thaler.
Carmeon hands over 5 whole thaler.
What was that?
You're paying
Carmeon
her.
hands over 5 whole thaler.
Okay, cool.
Pikome's gonna try and stop him.
No.
This, you know, she didn't buy 10 Thaler worth of stuff for us, right?
What?
For
Maida
us.
Maida
You
looks
handed us
upset.
like a rope, 2 torches, and whey bread.
She's
That's
l-
not 10 Thaler
she
worth
says,
of stuff for us.
But fine, you can carry it. I was just trying to be efficient. And she's just gonna put down the lantern and the lamp oil. And yeah, that's pretty much
Okay.
it.
Carmeon gives only the first 5 thaler over.
And then Maida says, "Are we leaving tomorrow?"
After we get the armor, we will head down. We will get ready to leave.
Yeah, we can get the armor at dawn.
Okay. And then she'll pretty much just go into her room and slam the door shut.
Mayra just got swindled
Yeah.
by her own party.
Yeah.
Karmeon tried.
Maida realizes this, and she's just not gonna fuss about it right now.
Alrighty. So is that's pretty much it for the day? Is anyone else trying to get anything done?
I need some lore master roles accomplished.
Oh yes, of course. Your research. Go right ahead.
Well, you are doing the roles just in case any of them are critical failures.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least, I assume it may take me a bit longer to identify what might exactly be in that vase.
Yes.
But at the very least, I need to investigate the bark, wood, and leaf of the tree, the game board, and am I missing anything? Yeah, but that's not not necessarily a roll. Am I missing any other artifacts we have?
No.
Anyone?
The urn?
Well, yeah, I was assuming that might take.
Yeah,
a
he's
bit
just gonna slap that into his eyes.
So I'm not laughing for any ominous reason. It's just because I accidentally rolled a D210 instead of a 20.
Yeah, but you say that and it makes me think it's an ominous reason.
Well, be at ease. So
I mean, it's a really high roll when you get a die 210.
yeah,
usually.
I was like, that's higher than it should be.
Unless you roll a 1. Or... Yeah, that would still be low.
It could still be 1. I mean, it could still be any of 1 to 20.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, so in order, you were interested in the tree.
Yes.
And the branches.
Yeah,
and then...
the game board. And does anybody, what else, what other artifacts does Mahira have that we know of?
She left the key
Oh, the key.
and the game board, and that's it. And the
Yeah,
urn. Yeah, because she did not.
Yeah, okay.
You don't know about the dagger.
The urn would be nice, but, you mentioned it might take a bit more of a longer search. Also, I suppose the pale metal.
Okay. Yeah, so... As far as the tree goes, you do uncover a number of entries that have to do with the living wood that can be found underground in some of the darker reaches of Davokar. There are a variety of names that different researchers have decided to call this. It doesn't appear that there's any consensus on the matter, and it's not often that you do find entries about it at all. However, it's speculated that the wood has certain supernatural characteristics. There's a pretty broad speculation as to what it can be used for. It's difficult to kind of tease out actual account versus just kind of wild writing on the part of experts, quote unquote. That said, there is an entry or two that Karmeon sort of fixates on that have to do with basically the wood being used as fuel for particular sorts of rituals that must have sort of been devised when the wood was a little more accessible. There has been at least one grove found underneath the ruins that were inhabited by Crypt Walker, and it was suspected that it had been nurtured by that Crypt Walker for a particular purpose, as she had a number of very high-functioning undead servants that a band of adventurers had nearly perished to. So that's kind of the most that you're able to find out on that front. And let's see. As far as the game board goes, and the key, in fact, they both appear pretty typical. It's difficult to find research towards, a key that has been found, because it's rather specific. Obviously, if it had been found before, it would have been there for Mayra. But there are a couple entries of just ornate keys that seem pretty in character with the type of complex that you found. It seems to match the aesthetic described in other writings. But as far as you can tell, it's probably just a key. Now, it's an ornate key, and what it goes to might be something quite valuable, but that's the most that you can gather. It doesn't seem like key-shaped artifacts were particularly common, and this you would not suspect is one of them.
Back to the ruins.
And the game board is a something that has been discovered by other people, and it does appear just to be a game board, and fairly innocuous. However, there have been reports that certain game boards of this sort are imbued with a darker edge, and that when you gamble upon them and play out the game according to the rules, which is provided in the same entry, that there is a mystical transaction between the players. The winner seems to take something from the loser in a manner that is not fully understood, but there are cautions about using it sort of at the discretion of the owner, because there could be some manner of curse associated with those examples. However, there are other ones that appear to be
just perfectly normal.
Just perfectly normal, yeah. And it would take sort of a close look on an individual basis to understand exactly which one you
or
have
just
come
play
across.
A board game with someone and bet.
I mean, the hands-on approach has done Pekome well.
Excuse you, Karmeon's done a lot of hands-on approach too.
Yeah, it's done Karmeon actually well.
Yeah, it actually has done Karmeon well. I suppose that's true. Finally, the urn.
It is made of acid. Drink it.
Most of the accounts that have to do with ceramics, like I said, are just little one-off mentions in paragraphs that are focused on more interesting topics. However, there are some characteristics to the urn that really point towards it being somewhat special for Mayra's discovery, anyway. And it wasn't exactly found tucked away with desiccated brooms or some such. And so Karmeon keeps hunting, and Karmeon does find an entry of a very well-kept ceramic urn that held a rich, sweet-smelling liquid that appeared to gift those who partook of it with a very wide array of blessings. Some believe that they were purified when they drank it. Some claimed to have been gifted with superhuman strength that persisted to the end of their days. There's some dispute about this, because it's just one has ever been found before, and the group that found it did not keep any to be researched or to be shared with those beyond.
Okay.
But it does seem very favorable, and all signs point to it being quite a windfall.
Sorry to interrupt. Hello, Raiders. Welcome. Raven, thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate y'all coming on by. We are currently playing Symbaroum. This is a Swedish TTRPG system, and it's got a kind of like spooky forest, mystical creatures and ancient ruins and curses, kind of.
To quote V, we try and fuck the forest.
I'm sorry, what?
Loosely quote.
What?
Excuse me. That is not accurate at all.
This is the Spooky Forest Romance Simulator.
Oh my god. Anyway, we are currently preparing for our next adventure, and
Yes.
Our lore master, Karmeon, is investigating various artifacts that we found at one of these very ancient ruins.
What's a nice way of writing corruption?
Pekome?
Twitch chat, also you can chime in, but what's the nicest way you can think of writing corruption?
Pekome.
Well, see, I can't say might cure Pekome's Pekome.
You could. I mean...
Blight, corruption, soul rot. I guess that's not really nice, but it's accurate.
I don't think there's a nice way to...
stepping stone to abomination.
Regarding ancient Symbar artifacts.
Yeah. That's
Might
Artifact, excuse me.
resolve. All right. So in very, there's notes attached to each of these things, and in particular, might resolve P's. Just the letter P, because you don't want to necessarily call someone out with their full name when someone might find this note. You gotta use some discretion. So might resolve P's contamination regarding ancient Symbar artifacts. Underline.
Question mark.
Question mark.
Okay, excellent.
Question mark was important, Kevin.
Actually, also at the beginning, safe to open, probably.
Question mark.
No question mark. And knowing that he's a restless sleeper, Karmeon will make himself a bed in the corner out of all. Well, I guess he's not that tall. 3 chairs and Dane's blanket, away from the vulnerable vase upon table.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Because that's... Oh, no, wait. Pale metal.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I guess I did never mention the pale metal. And that appears, as far as you can tell, to be a thoroughly average and normal discovery.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing mystical about it, but it is highly regarded as a difficult to work and unusual metal that the top Ambrian metallurgists have been unable to tease out the actual source of the metal or what goes into it. It is not iron. It is lighter and more durable. And in all ways, it is regarded as really the ideal form of metal to work with, although it's more difficult to work with, surely. But yeah, outside of that, there's not much. Just whenever it's brought up, it's spoken of very highly, and that's the sum of it.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okie dokes.
The board game is maybe Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Mira wakes up early the next day.
She wakes up early every day.
She has her backpack on and her equipment all bundled up. When she gets up, she stuffs the lantern and lamp oil into her backpack. And then she will shake Karmeon awake. Karmeon!
Yeah, you want to go... So we can't leave until Pegame gets her armor. You want to go to the smithy?
Let's go.
Yeah. Karmeon is back asleep again.
She shakes you violently. Karmeon.
Okay. I was up really late reading. And then Karmeon will reluctantly get up.
Okay.
Maida will accompany him. And as they're walking, Maida will say, "What were you reading?"
So I can't tell you about some of it because we're outside. But that metal is really nice and hard to work with. And your board game is cool. I want to play it. Can I have it?
No.
Can I
What?
play it with you?
Can I borrow it?
Maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna take it to the salon. Karmeon informs me whether or not she...
You went to the salon.
Yeah. Fancy place.
What did you discover?
I met another clerk and a witch hunter, and I've got their names. And, maybe next time we're it's just groundwork. Right?
I went to the dump. It is a tavern towards the northern part of town.
Yeah.
It is perhaps not so fancy as the salon you visited.
Yeah, well, it takes all kinds.
I was hoping to perhaps glean on some information, but she just kind of makes a dismissive, vague gesture in the air.
Yeah, I know how that is.
And I think she will talk about just like the various supplies and stuff that she got at the store all the way until they get to the smithy. And she'll like mention that I have mended my armor as much as I can, but I am coming to a point where I may have to discard it soon.
I don't think Pekome knows how much a horse costs, by the way.
There are many things that Pekome do not know, and Maida just visibly she looks and sounds irritated.
Karmeon will pass over at least 7 thaler for the horse.
Maida just swipes it up.
He already gave her 10 thaler.
No, he didn't. You stopped.
Pekome stopped him from giving the second 5. He only gave her 5.
Originally, when he was like, "Here's 10 thaler, go buy the horse."
He didn't.
No,
because
she said she was gonna do the whole on account thing that we'd already. We had a 10-minute conversation about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Bashers.
Yes, we're there.
All right, so you step into Big Basher's smithy. And it's still quite early because Mayra is an early riser. And as such, there are no other customers to be found, but Big Basher is already there working away at something, which does not appear to be a suit of armor. And there's a sleepy-eyed goblin near the door that skitters back when the two of you push in, and it'll peer up at you for a couple seconds before scampering over towards Big Basher and saying something quickly that draws the ogre's attention over your way.
Hey, Basher, you said show up, right away at tomorrow, and that's today?
I worked all night on your armor. I hope you appreciate it.
I appreciate it, and I really wanna see what you get done. I looked up this stuff. This stuff is something, isn't it? I wanna see what you can do with it.
This stuff is a pain, is what it is. And he turns away from the forge, stomps into the back room of the smithy. And he brings a suit of armor out, and it's in pieces, but he's more than large enough to bring them all out in one go. And he neatly sets it out kind of against a corner of the wall just by where Mayra and Karmeon are standing. And the armor does appear pretty well worked. It looks like it'll fit Pekome. I assume there was some subtextual dialogue there in which Karmeon Big Basher dimensions to work with.
Yeah, I mean, Big Basher, I assume. He seems like a really sharp customer, as they say. Tracks at least his craft very well, so he probably remembers Pekome.
Yeah, the work that he put in on Pekome, for sure. Yeah. So the armor looks made to spec. It will fit Pekome. It is exquisitely crafted. There's a brand new crest of House Kory in the center of this very pale armor that is stylized appropriately for the house. And it really looks fantastic. There's nothing to complain about as far as that goes. And he just kind of lets out a grumble as he steps back and goes, "It will take days to make something from the rest of it. This is the most resilient metal I've ever had to work."
Yeah, I really want to see whatever you can do with it. You know, just to get another glimpse. This is historical stuff.
He peers down at Karmeon,
right?
Dubiously.
Hey, Basher!
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you for any more work, because you stayed up all night, and I know what that's like. Do you know... I suppose, has Mayura complained at her... she talked about getting her armor fixed up.
I think as you're talking, like, Maid is just kind of looking around to see if there's anything that catches her eye.
Like, has there been, like, a discussion on, a lack of lacquer?
No, she would have just been really vague about it.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who Mayor is looking? But we got when we're back, maybe. I know you're busy.
Looking for what?
Something in which I can remain mobile.
Big Basher stares down at Mayra for a few seconds and then goes, "You are too small and scrawny for the armor that I make here." And he kind of gestures around, and it does look like essentially the entire smithy is made up of pretty sturdy metal craft. And nothing looks particularly suited to anything less than heavy protection, let's say.
Yeah, her cursory glance is very cursory. She just sort of shrugs dismissively and probably just messes with something like a gauntlet or whatever. Just impatiently hovering.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if that's it, we got the armor. We can go.
Goodbye.
Bye, Basher.
Basher will turn around and head back to the back of the forge and start working away on his project. Between the two of you, you'll be able to carry the armor back to Pekome, but it's probably not going to be the most fun in the world. And you'll get a glance here or there from the townsfolk that are beginning to wake and head on out for the day.
Geographically, I would know this because I was at the stables. Would the stables be along the way to our house?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
The stables were off to the northwest from your house, just around the corner from the dump.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we go back home. Maida kicks the door in. Just kidding.
Well, then she very injures her foot because the door opens outwards.
Oh. No, we get inside, Maida probably, She will very gently set the armor down, seeing the artifacts are probably still on the table.
Yeah, oh. And Karmeon makes sure the door is shut, and he's like, so, this stuff? So, it's pretty rare, but they say from what I'm reading, anything that's stored in jars like these, if it smells sweet, that means it is very, very good for drinking in the dealing with Pegome should drink a bunch of that. Right? You know? Because of her issues right now.
Meira will...
Karmeon mimes holding his nose.
Meira picks up the urn and she'll put it in her backpack. And she'll put the game board in her backpack too, and she says, I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, but don't play that game with anyone you like.
Okay.
It's probably safe, but if it's not, you know when you bet money and one of you has to lose it?
Yes.
It's like that, but I don't know how.
Okay. Hey, Kome, wake up.
Hi.
Your armor is here.
Pegome leaves her room. And then she sets about admiring the craftsmanship of the armor.
Yeah, so what does this armor look like now?
So yeah, I mean, it is kind of what I said earlier. It's very, I mean, it's still that smooth pale color, but it's crafted to fit Peikome's form. It has just on the breastplate, which is, just a pretty utilitarian breastplate for the most part. It's not very gaudy, but it does have the crest of House Boreal right on the center, and it looks like it's fitted to allow for a lot of movement. That's quite comfortable, at least if you've got the strength to deal with the weight, because it is on the heavier side. Excuse me. It tapers in a little bit at the waist before fanning back out, sort of protectively before where the transitions to the leg pieces. The gauntlets are broad, and but for the most part, because the armor came from a figure that was taller and thinner than Peikome, it does still, even cut down, have a bit of that aesthetic, sort of elongated limbs and features and proportions that aren't quite natural.
Spooky.
Nice.
Spooky.
Peikome's gonna unhook and untie her half cape from what's left of her old armor, and then hook it in and tie it up to the new armor.
Okay. Yeah. It the contrast, because this is dark blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The contrast is definitely a little more noticeable with this armor because of how much paler the color of the metal is than your old piece. But it fits in quite perfectly.
Will help you get dressed into the armor. You can tell she's impatient. She wants to get going.
We haven't been able to tell that for a full 24 hours or
Just
something.
nervous energy vibrating from Meira.
No, it's the doors that are vibrating.
That too. The whole house quakes with nervous energy.
Whenever Peikome is fully suited up, she's gonna adjust her joints a bit, stretch out her arms, walk around the room a bit, just make sure everything fits right. And then when everything seems good, she's gonna clap her hands and say, "All right, let's head out."
Finally. Where is the chest?
She steps back into her room and pulls it out.
The horse is stabled north, near the dump.
There isn't a head with it, is there?
What?
Meira rolls her eyes and she'll help you carry the chest.
Does anyone say anything to Karmeon's what?
Nope.
Nope.
Karmeon looks
Changes,
concerned and starts to follow after, but doesn't question. and he'll actually snag the book on breaking into chests. It's not a book on breaking into chests, but it's kind of a book on breaking into chests.
Yeah, it's got a suspiciously large portion of its text dedicated to getting into chests and other things that are intended to keep people out.
Yeah.
I feel like Karmeon's been put on a list after getting that book.
The novel, or the book, which itself is titled A Gentleman's Guide to Society by some name that has been lost to time.
Yes. Yes, it's now just a pseudonym of the gentleman.
Yeah.
That's all he's known as. It was actually in a different tongue originally.
His name was Gentlemanly.
What color is our
But
horse?
Piebald.
Piebald. Yes, you have a piebald horse.
Oh my god, awesome. Yeah, a heavy horse that's piebald?
Is that unrealistic? I don't know.
Well, I mean, no, it's fine. I'm just saying. It's a heavy horse that's piebald also.
Stella's bringing out her horse knowledge.
You a horse girl, Stella?
Listen.
Is there
This
is there a folder somewhere in a garage somewhere with your name on it, and it's just got a giant horse on it?
It's kind of smiling.
Yeah.
There's teeth.
Wow.
Bunches of teeth.
Alright, session's over.
The context
Karmeon
there
will-
is our friend Obdurant, Kevin, here, has a thing against horse teeth.
Yeah, it's a big thing. A big, huge thing he has against it.
Yes, the correct answer. Tell the internet what people don't like.
Alright. So
Karmeon will
you-
mention
okay, go ahead.
as he's. I think we might. I mean, it's not exactly like we like the guy, so if you guys want to get that thing open, I think we might be able to.
And what if they find out that we opened it?
I mean, I'm just offering.
Do you
He's
know how
not
to
your
open
friend.
it without damaging the lock?
Yeah, that's part of it. Karmeon holds up the book.
I would suggest that perhaps this is not a wise course of action.
I'm just offering. He's not a friend of ours, and
Yeah.
he's, not a friend of Peikome's especially. And this could really, I mean, what if this is a setup and this is just to harm House Bori?
This is quite possible. When we were assigned this, and in that room, I noticed that some of Regard's companions had high quality weapons that were purposefully darkened. And 2 of them were wearing silver clasps. These are not signs of your average vagrants.
Not as if he's giving us enough information to get this job done without, screwing it up a little on the way.
If they had wanted to harm House Bori, they simply could have revealed what I am.
Well, maybe they'll do that too. But it's more scandal on top of it.
Either way, I do not think it is wise to open it.
Alright.
Pikome gestures to the book. How long did it take you to learn how to fence properly?
Maida laughs like a dog. I don't know what that sounds like. I don't know why I said that.
Like a
It's a
hyena?
barbarian phrase, Stella.
Yeah.
It just doesn't translate.
Yeah,
She laughs like a hyena.
Maida laughs very deeply and loudly. She points at you. It's embarrassing.
Karmeon offers no further advice.
Shut down.
Sullen.
Solid. Okay, so you get to the stable. You take ownership of your piebald large horse and you load it down with this.
Karmeon is like, I don't know. Did you guys get a book on how to load a horse? And then lets them do it.
Maida
Okay.
takes a rope and she will essentially harness it into the horse.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty big chests, so it is not without difficulty. But we'll go ahead and say that you manage a roughly secure, roughly comfortable-ish arrangement for the horse to kind of ferry this chest along. And 3 of you are good to set out. Is there anything that you want to do at Thistlehold before you, take your way off?
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
think that's it.
Then you will head out by the west gate. So you cut your way across town and take the western gate outside of the settlement and begin down the road for Blackmore.
Travel roll.
Travel roll for that? No,
Hey,
no,
we're not
there's
in the forest.
There's no need for a travel roll here. That said, it is going to potentially be the start of a fairly large set of interactions. So I think that might be a good spot to pause the session for the week.
Okay.
All right, first I throw Karmeon all the way to the camp.
You throw Karmeon all the way to the camp. I'm not sure that you do.
Alas, that has a -20.
Yeah, that would be a difficult roll.
Thank you, friends, so much for joining us here tonight. We're going to do a few quick shout-outs, and then we'll go see if we can rate anybody. We're going to go ahead and start off our round of shout-outs with Kevin, Obdurant. Tell us about you and the stuff you like to do.
Hello, I'm Obdurant. I like to play tabletop games of most varieties. You can find me here on Wednesdays playing Symbaroum with this motley crew. I'm also here on Fridays playing Dark Matter with Stella and some other players. And I'm usually here on Thursdays playing Destiny. I really like Destiny. If anyone else likes Destiny, Stella's server has a lot of people who play it, and I highly recommend it.
Yes, Dark Matter is a sci-fi 5th edition D&D supplement written by Mage Hand Press. We play that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every other Friday. It's going to be awesome. Please join us. We're playing this week as well. If you want to join in on some of these tabletop games that we are playing, the best way to get to it is to hop into our Discord. Link is there in the chat. And then we also do have the active Destiny community as well. We do raids, we do just general shenanigans, and next we've got Kory.
Hi, yes, I competitively stream multiplayer Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy at twitch.tv/carelessspikysloth vote nay.
Thank you, Kory.
Yep.
Last but certainly not least, my friend Vertigo Cross.
Hello, I'm Vertigo. I play a variety of games on Thursdays and Saturdays. I'm bad with dates. On Mondays, I hang out with Stella and we play Mixed Monday Madness for saucy commentary. And on Thursday, my friend Obdurant and Stella are going to be joining me for another continuation of Remnant at 1 p.m. EST.
Yes, not Last Remnant, which is the 2005?
2008 single player JRPG
by
that
Square
debuted
Enix.
on the Xbox.
Yes, not that one. We're going to be playing Remnant from the Ashes. I finally know the name of the game we're playing. Yes.
Oh, actually, I will stream Resident Evil 2 at twitch.tv/theCory tomorrow for
I
VR.
can't believe you sold out your shtick for a
But,
little.
yeah, well, V asked me to do it. And he said last week, why didn't I show myself? And I was like, because I'm not going to be around till next week, but I'll do it next week. And I have to stick to my word. But, yeah,
I made
I'm
Kory
sorry.
a more honest streamer.
I'm sorry that I sold out my shtick and disappointed
So
all my
what?
fans. Forgive me, Bop and Zombie.
And I am Saluda. You're here at my channel. I'm a variety streamer. I do things of the artsy-fartsy kind and various types of TTRPGs. You can find me here almost every day of the week doing something. You can find information of the calendar down below. If you enjoyed the content that you saw here, if we made you laugh, if you are interested in playing in any of these games, please consider giving the channel a follow. Really appreciate it. You'll get alerts for whenever we go live. And that's gonna be it from me. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your weekend. We will be back live tomorrow here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Destiny 2 raid.
Butts.
Butts. There were so many butts. I couldn't redeem them while we were playing the game. Alright, let's go find someone to raid. I hope everyone has a good night. Bye!
Oh, Stella, do you want to, like, give this session as much of a good, like, outgoing as you did the intro?
Oh my god, that was so embarrassing. I could not stop laughing. Welcome to Symbaroum. Goodbye to Symbaroum, TTRPG system.
You already fucked up.
Bye, everyone. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye.